From the neuroscience perspective, we still know relatively little about dreams. But the spiritual world has given us some really interesting insights and teachings, and I want to share them with you in this video.
I think we all understand by now that our soul is not of this world. It is a cosmic being of infinity. For this reason, the soul cannot remain exclusively within the physical body for years or decades, like a caged bird. It must be able to move freely in the cosmos again and again without its physical body. So we think we need sleep to regenerate and detox our body, but it seems that it is more our soul that wants the human being to sleep because it is getting restless of being locked up for so many hours. It usually happens when a part of the earth has turned away from the sun and it becomes dark. We call this phase night. Then the soul is ready to move in those spiritual spheres which correspond to its state of consciousness. So for us humans, going to sleep is in a way very similar like dying. Most are afraid of their final hour, their death, but we forget that we are actually dying every day when night falls and we go to sleep and our soul leaves our body. Therefore sleep is also called the little brother of death. During the period of deep sleep, all our organs slow down and are receiving only a minimum of energy. Our breath is shallow. The real carrier of life, which is our soul, leaves our body during the deep sleep state, but stays always connected via the energy information cord, also called the silver cord, which is linked to our upper consciousness and subconsciousness. The reason why our physical body is breathing more shallow during the sleep is because the soul has taken along some of the cosmic breathing and continues to breathe on its cosmic journey. In other words, we fall asleep because the energy-filled soul that supplies our body with energy slowly moves out of our body. It's like taking a power pack out of an electric device. That is the reason why we fall asleep. The soul can now go to the sphere to which it is attracted according to its state of consciousness. Here it is possible that it takes in and learns a lot of information according to its level of consciousness. For instance, a soul with a higher state of consciousness goes to higher and finer spheres of multi-dimensions. Here the soul takes part in spiritual schoolings, which are conducted by pure beings, just like a classroom in the sky. The soul learns about the divine laws and about the law of sowing and reaping. Furthermore, the evolved enlightened soul is given explanations and help for its new day in the physical body. With this help, instructions, and advice, the soul returns back into the human body. When we awake, our soul is usually already back in our body because it recognizes through the information cord when our body is entering a lighter sleep and will awaken soon. Because the soul is not bound to time and space, it can be back in the body in an instant. We sometimes notice it when our body is making jerky movements upon awakening. That is when the little incarnation of the soul begins. Remember, sleep is a little brother of death and waking up is a little incarnation of the soul. We are born again to a new day. Once back in the body, the soul now tries to radiate these impressions, information, instructions, help and advice to our brain. If our upper consciousness is marked by harmony, peace and goodwill, and our subconsciousness to a degree purified, then we will be open to receive the impressions, experiences and teachings that the soul has received during the night. The soul filters these multidimensional impressions through the three-dimensional grid of our brain. They may be perceived by our upper consciousness as a possible dream or as symbols. And some of them make good sense to us when we awake up. The more the person lives in the here and now and tries to purify his soul, the more he will be open to receive such help and wisdom that the soul brought from the more luminous and finer spheres. Naturally, it's a bit different for a soul that is still very burdened and even obstinate. Such a soul cannot enter the higher and finer and multidimensional spheres. It is more often attracted to the lower astral spheres or remains on this earth. From that place where it is attracted in accordance to its thought patterns, its correspondences, it also gathers impressions that it brings back into the body. Without having been given any instructions and help, such a person doesn't really know upon awakening what to do with the day. I think we all had some days like this, didn't we? So, if our upper and subconsciousness are still marked by severe humanness, selfishness, and unresolved problems, then our dreams are often only consisting of rearranged elements of images and pictures that come from our upper and subconsciousness. Therefore, they are not easy to understand. For this reason, we should not build or rely on our dreams or spend hours examining them. It is rare that we get a clear thought and picture that we can understand and follow, particularly if we ourselves are still carrying a lot of soul burden. And if our day was hectic and filled with unnecessary and superficial things and thoughts, then our upper consciousness and subconsciousness are overloaded with events and unresolved issues. Then we will only have a very shallow sleep. That means that the soul was only able to partially leave the body and not travel to the other worlds. Most of us know that it is best to stay away from any electronic devices and Wi-Fi hours before we go to sleep. And to assist our soul and to calm our mind and body, the spiritual world strongly advises us to link with the eternal spirit in our soul and in every cell of our body before we go to sleep and give a short but heartfelt prayer of thanks. The same immediately when we wake up. Now, sometimes it may happen that we wake up and suddenly we have found a solution to a problem or situation that we could not solve the day before. What happened here? Remember the storage planets of the material and semi-material universes that store our karma, our soul burden, and all our unresolved problems, and eventually download them back to us? Well, these planets are always moving and sending, even during the night when our body sleeps. During the night, our soul can move to these spheres and planets which we humans have influenced and burdened with our unlawful words, deeds, and thoughts. Here the soul can recognize the source of our problem and also how to overcome it. The solution can then flow into our upper consciousness when we awake, so that we can solve it on that day. But we will only receive the right solution if we are truly willing to solve this situation according to the divine laws of love. So we can ask God's Spirit before we go to sleep to help us find a solution during the night. But if our intentions is for selfish reason, like building up our ego, then we will only attract and invite negative entities who project into our mind ideas and suggestions to fulfill their own selfish goals for which they wish to use us. So, like always, our motivation, our intention for everything we do, think, or say is always the decisive factor. If it is truly selfless, we will always be given divine help, even in our sleep. If it is for our ego, self-importance, we will eventually have to pay it back to the negative sources that have loaned it to us.
For anyone who wishes to learn more about this subject, I would like to recommend 3 books which may be of interest to you. Firstly, Live the Moment, then Leobani, I Explain, Will You Join Me? And Die kosmische Uhr und das Netzwerk deiner Haut. The latter one will also be soon available in English and other languages. They're all by Gabriele. I'm really looking forward to see you in my next video.